Hello and welcome to another episode of the British and Irish Eagles podcast, and we are back, baby. It is draft week. There is only a few days. What are we on Monday evening, 7 minutes past 10 GMT time in the UK, and we are days away from the NFL draft. And my God, a lot has happened since the last time we talked to you all, from Jalen Hurts' contract to some coach signings, some player moves. Everything's been going on. There's so much to digest, so much to get into. We hope you liked the last mock standing game we did last week. We're going to be doing that again today. But without any further ado, let me re-welcome to the podcast for another appearance, one of our favorites, friend of the podcast, Gayle Saunders from 4th and John at Eagle Sessions. Gayle, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. It's always good to see you guys. I think you guys are killing it these days. I heard there's rumors of you guys coming to the States, but I'll let you talk more about that. But always good to see you guys, especially around draft time. I think we have a lot to talk about today.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll touch on that trip to the US shortly. And can I just say, I'm liking the merch you're repping today.
You know, I just randomly, I woke up, I was like, let me go in the closet, and then this one appeared.
There you go.
I don't even know how. It just
British and Irish Eagles merch. This guy knows what he's doing. I reckon, like, you're better than my wife to be. I reckon you've got all your outfits planned for like 7 days in advance. Is that right?
Probably got 1,000 ready to go. I could go any way.
Anyway,
usually travel with 3 different outfits on Eagle on a game day. You know, because
and it's just a feeling. Like, what makes you decide?
Well, if someone shows up with the same thing, you can't. Nah, we can't be doing that.
You got to switch it up. Straight
away. Got it. That's my you know, gotta get it right for game day.
I love that. Listen, before we go into the agenda today, Phil, how are you, sir? Welcome back to the podcast. A few days away from the draft. You excited, my friend?
Oh yeah, I've come into this week more buzzing than I've ever been for an Eagles draft, and I think that's just because of the situation that we find ourselves in with the picks that we've got and the options available. It's starting to ramp up now. I can feel it day by day. It's just going to get 1 a.m. Friday morning. Can't come soon enough.
I know, right? Yeah. For those listening in the US, the draft starts at 1 a.m. UK time. It's going to finish around. Yeah. 5 o'clock in the morning. It finishes up on Thursday. So if my boss is listening in, there's a half day on Friday in for a reason. Alistair?
I sincerely hope that the Eagles trade up from 30, because I don't think I can make it that long.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking that myself as well.
Drink your coffee.
It's going to be a lot of coffee and a lot of alcohol consumed, I think.
I mean, pick 30. I mean, it would be pretty devastating to wait up to like 4:45 a.m. in the morning to then find out Howie Roseman has traded it for a 37th and a future second-round pick or something like that. Anyway, could happen. Mick, how the devil are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Excited to have Gayle on the podcast, repping our British and Irish Eagles colours today, so that's very cool. Very cool to see that, and he's wearing it better than I could have ever worn it as well. So he's looking good, looking fresh.
Hey, man, look at the beard though. Beard game is strong on your end. This, you know.
It's the whiskey that puts the beard on me.
What are you drinking tonight, Mick? What are you on?
I'm on, unsurprisingly, a Loch Lomond single malt. So I'm on the one of the grain versions tonight. If I can just grab it from the back of my drinks cabinet there. Say cabinet. It's really just sitting on top of the desk. Loch Lomond single grain. It's very nice. A little bit peated. It's lovely. Highly recommended.
Gayle, you might have remembered reading Tony Burton when we were over. So Tony works for Loch Lomond Whiskies, and they're now one of the sponsors of this podcast. So
get out of here.
Yeah. One of the 25 fastest growing whiskies in the world. And yeah, we've got lots going on. People listening have already heard about it. We'll make sure we wrap them up in this podcast. But yeah, we got some sponsors now, Gayle. Moving up the world.
I don't doubt you guys. I don't doubt anything. I mean, the last time I don't even doubt this guy. Have you guys seen his dance moves? The last time I saw Liam,
Unfortunately,
we were dancing with mascots, cheerleaders, and the Eagles DJ, and then this guy was having the time of his life. So this guy is a party animal.
I had a few messages that day from family, friends, and my fiance. My fiance found out by receiving a video from her auntie saying, "Is this your man?"
Oh, jeez.
It was the video that we also saw on Broad Street afterwards, a few days later after the win. That
you were dancing when Newcastle won at the weekend, weren't you, as well?
yeah, it was a video.
You're
that
dancing more
surfaced
than
on
Jackson
some,
Mahomes these days. It's getting ridiculous,
Yeah.
Liam.
You might as well start a TikTok page while you're at it.
Probably should. Anyway, enough of that. All good stuff. Run through agenda for today. We're gonna very, very briefly touch on Aaron Rodgers' trade, just because that's just landed. So we'll just spend a couple of seconds on that. No, we'll spend any more time on that than that. Then we're gonna go into the big news. Jalen Hurts, QB1 of the future, face of the franchise, his new contract. It's been a few days since it happened. Sod's Law. It happened straight after we recorded our last podcast. So we're going to get into that, talk to Gayle a little bit about Jalen's contract. And also he's just spoken with the media today. So some fresh off the block news on that front. We're going to talk about some roster moves, both on the coaching aspect and also on the team. Since we have last pod, there's been a couple of moves which we're going to talk through, and couple of trade possibilities we're going to throw at Gayle to see if they could happen on draft day, and then we're going to do a live draft, a live mock draft with Gayle as well. Finally finishing it up with last mock standing, where if you've listened in last week, you know what the deal is, and we'll see if that mock, whoever wins this week can go up against last week winner to crown the champion of the last mock standing before the draft. So lots to get into. So let's just get straight into it. And Gayle, I want to throw it straight to you. Jalen Hurts and his agent, Nicole Lynn, made an NFL history negotiating a massive 5-year contract, £255 million extension, which includes £179 million of guaranteed money, making him the highest paid player on average in the NFL. The cap hit is bordering on ridiculous for the next 3 years, 6 million, 13.5 and 21.7. And he spoke to the media today. Before we get into what he said today, just initial thoughts, Gayle, on Jalen Hurts getting that contract, the Eagles investing in him, and the unbelievable transition, certainly in the eyes of the media and the fans, that has happened over the last 12 months.
Well, let me start with a quote by Jalen today. He says, money is nice, but championships are better. So I think his mindset and the way that he's made up, and in some people, Eagle fans, some weirdos out there, you'll see him in the comments below, like, he says stuff like that, but what doesn't he give some money back? I'm like, I was like, the reason he got this contract is because of his actions, what he's done behind the scenes. He's been working tirelessly behind the scenes in the community. The moment that the moment for me, we had on our last podcast, we talked about that we knew that Jalen Hurts was the guy and that he was the franchise. We went to his community event in Philadelphia, where he's had a free football camp for kids in Philadelphia. He had his whole team there. Nicole, we talked to her. She got us in there. We had the drone flying around. We just had a good time with his people, and you could see his intentions. And it just comes from within. I talked to Eagles PR. They said Jalen Hurts makes our job so easy. You have no idea. Just the way that he moves, he leads by example. It's not fake. It's not phony. The stuff I've heard before he even became the Eagles starting quarterback, the way that it was leading behind the locker room, the way that players in our locker room were shifting towards him. This has been going on and on. I just think he deserved every single penny. I think he's wise beyond his years. Last time we were at NovaCare, Coach Singleton said, this kid is an old soul. He's just built differently, and he's worth every penny. I think the biggest thing, you look at this contract and the way it's set up, it shows you that the Eagles, Howie, and Jalen are all working together to build something.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't say it any better. I mean, I won't go on too much about Jalen because I effusive about him every podcast and have done since the start of last season and before. I think I've clocked up enough minutes talking about how amazing Jalen is and how amazing he is as a person primarily, and how his character and the benefits that brings to your organization almost outweighs the skill set benefits that he brings to the organization at quarterback. It's certainly on par, and he's perfect. The perfect QB in the modern era and perfect QB for Philadelphia. You mentioned money is nice, but championship are better. Phil, a quote that you particularly liked today that we saw. What makes this place special, Jalen? First response was
the fans.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think I like the other quote that he did. I think which was in his the contract signing video shortly before his press conference. Ain't nothing changed but the weather, and that's probably my favorite, to be honest, because it just shows how cool and how focused he is. It's like nothing's changed. That it might have been paid, but nothing about how I see the club, how I operate, what I'm going to do. Nothing's going to change. I'm not taking my foot off the pedal, and that says more to me than anything else. And I had a funny feeling that his contract would be around about this. I mean, I didn't look at figures, but where people were talking about the 50 mil per year, guaranteed, fully guaranteed, not fully guaranteed, all that sort of stuff. I always felt like Jalen would be at that level, just a little bit below, as almost like not a gesture maybe, but just a symbol of how he feels about the organization. Is that like, well, I don't need to be up here because it doesn't matter to me, but I deserve to be there, but I'm not going to be demanding the highest amount possible. So it's a fantastic contract. I think I've not seen anybody really come out, anybody that's got a brain cell in their head to sort of say anything negative about the contract, because it just worked. Like Gayle said, it just goes to show that the organization from top to bottom is all pulling in the same direction, and that's what you really want going into any situation.
Yeah, I Gayle, when you were talking there a second ago about going to his events he was hosting, like, from my eyes, no better person or judge of character than you for the type of individual someone is in the Philadelphia organization. Talk to us just for a second about the tailgates that you put on for the fans of Philly during the games. I was very fortunate to come and join one of these when I was last over for the NFC Championship game. I actually hit a few tailgates that day. I was over at the Philly Sports Trips one.
Yep.
I came to see your one, and then Tony Brewerton took me to one which had the Eagles operational director there, and they were drinking Macallan 22s off the back of a car in the VIP area after I left yours. So it was quite the day, I have to admit. But the vibe and the atmosphere at the 4th of John tailgates that you host is just super special. Talk to us about that and why you do it, because it's for the community.
And at the end of the day, when we first started our brand, it was all about bringing people together and getting Eagle fans closer to the game, like we know they want to, and just that's an opportunity to meet people that listen to our podcast. It's an opportunity to bring people together and just have a good time. I mean, we've coming out of pandemic. We've, just at the end of the day, when you're talking to real Eagle fans that really get the whole, it's unspoken truth and words. You can tell by what they're wearing. You can tell by the look in their eyes that they get it. They're here for other reasons. Just it means a lot to them. But shout out to Bud Light and Country Bakery, providing tomato pies and beer for everybody, and it's a free vibe. And people don't understand that it's the city of brotherly love. Try to spread love, man. That's really, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. But it's great to have an amazing team during these rides. Like I've tailgated in losing seasons and winning seasons, right. But at the end of the day, like Jalen said in his presser, the tailgating scene is crazy. No matter what, Eagle fans are always there supporting.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Gayle, for doing that, because it's awesome. And thank you for allowing me to witness it firsthand when I was over. We had a few special times when we were over, and I have a funny feeling we're going to have a few more in years to come as well.
Yeah. At the Super Bowl, next Super Bowl.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mick, just want to bring you in here just on a Jalen contract, specifically talking about, did you catch Jeffrey Lurie's presser today? talking about how Jalen was basically talking about, I mean, Gayle, you touched on it a second ago with the head coach and the quarterback. The head coach, the GM, and the quarterback. Lurie was explaining how you always want all these pieces to come together, and you always want the right people in.
Is Liam froze or is it just me?
Oh, did you lose me there, guys?
Yes.
Right in the middle of a sentence as well. Beautiful. I saw my screen pause and then your guys' faces going. So I was just saying, Lurie is speaking about having the right head coach, the right GM, the right quarterback all at the same time and how important that is, but also how rare it is and how he feels like right now the Eagles are in a real special period at the moment. And talked again about Jalen Hurts' maturity, Mick. Do you feel like the Eagles are on the precipice of a potential dynasty with the pieces they have, both from top to bottom in the organization when it comes to those core pieces?
Yes, well, I heard you use the D word when on the Irish NFL podcast the other week. I'm very cautious of using that word. I will be for the remainder of this podcast, at least until I've had a few more whiskies, and then I'll start throwing out the word dynasty. But it's all very, it's all looking very well for the Eagles just now. But we're building and building and building, and everything is looking just so great. We've got Jalen Hurts under contract, 5-year extension. We've got him pinned down, and he's the face of the franchise. We've all spoke about how great this guy is, what he means to, the fans, the city, and the ownership as well. Because if you just look at the contract, it seems to be like a deal for both sides. One formed out of mutual respect for Jalen and what he's accomplished, what he's earned up until this time. A guy that came in as a backup that no one really cared about until it was his time to shine, and he took it both hands and he took us all the way to the Super Bowl on the back of that. And what he's done for the city to bring the morale back up from where we were in the end of 2020 to where we are now, and you're talking about a dynasty on the cusp of that, and all the players that we've got around. We've got a head coach who's just as enthusiastic. He's a Philly guy. I don't think he's from Philly, but he's a Philly guy. He's one of us now. Get what Gayle was saying, it's the city of brotherly love. We embrace all these people because we know if you're genuine, then you will be accepted by the city of Philadelphia. And that's what Jalen Hurts is, and that's why he's been given this contract. And I can't wait to see what he does over the next few years, because we know what he's capable of on the field. We've seen it from the MVP season that he just had, minus, a couple of injuries. We saw what the team was like when Gardner Minshew was under centre, or when Jalen wasn't at full capacity. He was playing with the injured shoulder. But we know exactly what we can get from Jalen, and it's only just the beginning as well, because he's going to get better. This is a guy, he said it in his press conference, the fire is still there. He is going to ball out. He's going to use all his ability to prove himself worthy of that deal that he's just struck with the Eagles, because that's the kind of guy that he is.
Yeah, I mean, Gayle, you said it best there when you said money is nice, but championships are better. You get the feeling that's pretty much going to personify the way he approaches life. So yeah, listen, well done, Jalen. I'm just going to move on to the next part of the podcast. Let's talk about some roster moves that the Eagles have made. There's been one. Is it today? I believe Mick or Gayle, sorry, Tyree Jackson has signed his exclusive rights tender.
Yeah, that was today actually, and I think he's still trying to find a role in this roster. He's dealt with some injuries. It was the back injury that he dealt with, but again, tight end 2 is something that needs to be addressed. Tight end 2 production was really not a thing. There's a Phillies thing, but then this was not a thing. Tight end 2 production. So we're looking for some positives on that. I mean, we have guys there, but I'm just saying it's not like a Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert vibe.
And also just recently talking about, I think on the last podcast, that the Eagles signed Dallas Goedert when Zaccheaus was actually younger than what Dallas Goedert is now, and
yeah,
that's something you can maybe see. Could you see Howie doing that again in rounds?
I think so. I think like when Dallas Goedert was picked to my guys for 4th and John, I sent them. I said Dallas Goedert is the guy, and they were like, "What?" I said, "Yeah," and then we drafted him, and they were like, "Bro, how did?" I was like, "They're always years in advance." Just like start thinking about this year's draft. They're always years in advance. So, I mean, there's some dudes. This is a tight end draft. There's some dudes. There's even a guy that went to, was it Tucker Kraft that went to Dallas Goedert school? He looks like Dallas Goedert's younger brother.
Really?
Bring him in.
Does he also have no hair? Does he also have no hair? Or
and he's just kind of built the same way. They're both like. But hey, if you brought both those guys in, they went to the same college in East obscure state. It'd be funny if they both landed in Philly.
That'll be cool. Mick, I know you've got a couple of tight ends in this draft. Not that you want to necessarily draft, but one from your college team, Notre Dame.
Subalum, yeah.
You see the Eagles picking him up?
No, I don't. And I won't be setting my hopes up on that either.
Michael Mayer?
Yeah. He's a beast.
Baby Gronk?
Not to be confused with the serial killer Michael Myers, is it? Michael Myers? Yeah,
Michael Myers? Isn't Michael Myers? Okay. Mike Myers is the guy who does isn't he an actor? Isn't he an actor?
There's also an actor, not to be confused with him either.
serial killers, actors, and tight ends. We have the name of our podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Michael Myers is from Halloween.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's it. All right, good stuff. Tyree Jackson, 6'8", I think, from memory. Very tall guy.
6'7".
He's a tree.
He's a tree.
Taller than us.
They're a lot taller than us, than me anyway. The Eagles had a lot of hype about him. I can't remember it was before. I can't remember if it was in preseason last season or in preseason the season before. But there was a lot of hype around Tyree Jackson potentially becoming a thing. And Mick, if you look at some of the physical attributes of some of the Titans coming out of the draft this year, I think I remember you making a quip today of Tyree Jackson being similar in stature to them. If you're just looking on the physical elements of the player.
Yeah, I thought I made the flippant remark that he was just Darnell Washington, but cheaper or the same stock. But it's just because of the height thing, and they just look so odd on a football field because they stand out because of the statures that they've got. But I know Tyree. We were big on him. I think it was training camp last year, and he made a couple of plays, and people started getting excited. That time of year where everyone's just starved of football for a number of months. So anybody making a play in training camp, they're like, "Yeah, that's the guy. He's going to be fucking amazing next year." And nothing happens. So
to be fair, he did come in for his sort of one appearance and get a touchdown. So there was like a really big peak.
He also got flagged and looked pretty bad as well the same game, didn't he?
No, this was the season before last. His actual first season before he got his major injury that put him out, and then he came.
Yeah, I really should have done more research on Tyree Jackson before we started.
I mean, he is a former quarterback at Buffalo State, so I mean, you're talking about a guy who's switching positions. Obviously, the size is you like. In camp that year, he was killing before he got hurt. So again, he's just gonna have to put on. Like, if you really want that tight end 2 spot, you have to put in work, or just draft a tight end. This is the year to draft a tight end. I'm just saying.
Oh, I was when you mentioned a second ago, when I saw that squint and smile in your eye when you were talking about Dallas Goedert, Gayle, I had a feeling that we might hear or see a tight end mentioned in when we do a mock draft later on. Are you mocking some tight ends to the Eagles? Let's just go for that right now.
I haven't been, but I've been thinking about it.
Who have you got your eye on?
Well, that one guy, Tucker Kraft, that I just recently mentioned. I mean, there's a lot of like Sam Laporta. Because again, I'm not drafting tight ends earlier. I'm looking at if it's either going to be day 2 or day 3, that's when I start really like. There's Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion, another guy because I'm starting to look even deeper. Payne Durham out of Purdue, but Sam Laporta, very interesting, out of Iowa. Scouts say he's not as he's not an Noah Fant or like an Hawkinson, but he's a he's as tough as George Kittle's.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I mean,
I said okay.
If you're gonna go Hawkinson, Fant, George Kittle, and there's a mix in between there of all three, then I'm
an Iowa tight end. That's like it's like tight end you right now.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on Calcaterra's sort of brief showing the season? Is that you basically saying, nah, I know he was a later round pick, but obviously we've not seen enough of him. Are you kind of just ignoring that, or you?
I think he took his moments and he showed flashes of he can be a guy for us. Like, if you take those opportunities, you make those catches, but was it transformative for the offense? But I didn't expect that, especially from a rookie. But again, I always don't, obviously competition is key. It's always most important. Let the best man win in camp. This is no one's position to own unless your name is Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. You know the guys they're locked in. But if you're not locked in, keep bringing guys in here. It's about competition.
All right, well, let's talk about another player that the Eagles brought in for some competition, and that's Olamide Zaccheaus. I'm hoping I've said that right. He's been brought into the Eagles, 193 pounds, 25 years old. He was an undrafted free agent signed by Atlanta Falcons in 2019. He's had some flashes in his career so far. I actually have watched a little bit of him purely because I used to keep picking him up in my DraftKings teams, not last season, but the year before. So I used to follow him quite closely on the Sunday NFL show, and watch out for him. So he's, as I said, he's flashed, but he's not been consistently good. I mean, his production is pretty good for an undrafted free agent. If you look at the 1,300 yards and the 9 touchdowns he's had since he came into the NFL. Do you see him as a realistic challenger for Quez Watkins? I think he certainly is. Do you see him surpassing Quez Watkins as wide receiver 3, or is this literally, as you said, getting another guy in the door to take a look at, see where he lands? And do you think he's even definitely going to be on the team when the 53-man roster is released? Now, there's a few questions in there, but basically your thoughts.
I think he's got a shot. I think what he provides. If you're looking at, short area quickness, jet sweeps, screens, like he probably is a better route runner in terms of short area than a Quez. I think Quez, what he provides is he stretches the field.
Yeah, top end.
And you can't. That's one of the things you can't replace. Like when guys can stretch the field, they can stretch the field. But with Quez, it's like
catch it when you stretch the field.
With Quez, it's what can you do? Consistency at the catch point is very important. We need to see a consistent Quez, and he's feisty on Twitter. He put out he's like, I'm gonna make everyone eat their effing words. That's a very strong statement. It's not like I'm gonna be humble and do my thing and he said something, he put it out there. So now you have to deal with the repercussions of that. Now you put more some people like the pressure, some people don't. But with that statement, you put more pressure on yourself. And again, if that's what you need to do, show up. Sure.
I mean, it's not like the thing about catching the football at the point of the catch, right? Yes, of course you can practice that and you can practice catching the ball. But in terms of like firing yourself up in determination, it's more about running awesome routes, running faster, breaking away from your defender, playing harder, playing more aggressive. Does building yourself up and saying, I'm going to prove you wrong, does that translate into better catching ability to the point of catch? For me, it's the opposite. For me, it's more pressure, right?
I played wide receiver in college. And
yeah, that's what I'm asking you, yeah.
The thing is, like, I remember going one season, I'm breaking records. the second season, the pressure of like, okay, you're gonna continue to break records, right? Or like, situations change, and also, there's other guys that need the ball more. So if the only reason that I got to start earlier on as a freshman was the guy got hurt in front of me, so they needed someone to step up, and I just stepped up.
Yeah.
Seeing his position, AJ Brown's in here. We're talking monster. We're talking about Devontae Smith. We're talking about Route God Jr. And Quez, where does Quez fit in? When he needs to fit in is when his number's called. You have to be consistent. And that's like now you've put the target on your back to be consistent, or we have to shut our effing mouths up.
Exactly, and it's not like he's Kadarius Toney. Like I don't think he's got the agility that someone like Kadarius Toney has. Like we saw in the Super Bowl, like he's got the speed.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure he has the juking ability as well, right?
He's just more of a. He's very quick. He's I'm going to say he's a strider, and he can gain ground quickly. And it's weird because I'm kind of like. I did some custom sneakers for Quez.
Did you?
I did. Nice. So like I don't want to be like, hey, but I want to be like, I want to be very truthful and be if I'm coming from a big brother sense, I just want to be like, hey, all right, you say what you want and just show up. That's all.
I would say that there's a chance that there's a high chance he won't watch this when this is released. But I made a take about Jason Kelsey a few weeks ago, and he watched it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a controversial take.
Oh, go on, Liam. Tell us what was that take again?
Can we hear it again?
Yeah, okay. I made a take that considering Jason Kelsey's age, considering the only reason he's coming back would be to win a Super Bowl, and he's 36. He's clearly got a career lined up in the media. Money isn't an issue for him. That I made the argument that he didn't necessarily need to be paid the absolute top end of the market for a center. I know you're looking at me.
His reaction says it all.
I'll actually go ahead.
And I'm not talking about him taking a huge pay. I thought rather than 13, maybe it could have been 10, and maybe that money could be used to better him into the team. It was a take, and it was a take that Jason Kelsey then watched.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you know? How'd you know that he?
You can see who watches your video when you put it up on Twitter, and he'd
really
watched it. It showed up that he had watched it on Twitter, and then 5 people had liked the fact that he'd watched it on Twitter. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get Jason Kelsey on our podcast. Put it that way.
It's like this.
Thanks, Liam.
Thanks. He just killed it for everyone.
I know, right?
He's like, what does he need to do with anyone else's podcast when his podcast is like number one?
Well, exactly. I mean, he
scoping out the competition.
I think he was. To be fair, I think Phil threw me under the bus because I posted the because it was a snapshot from the podcast and I put it out there, and then Phil tagged Jason Kelsey in.
Phil, like setting him up, huh?
And he went, "Oh, what, Liam? You haven't got the balls to tag Jason Kelsey in it? Here it is." And then he went and watched it. There you go.
He was having a fundraiser last night, and I wanted to make it out, but it was like I totally missed it. But
he's a great guy. And look,
if I would have known that news, I would have told him. I would have told him face. So I was like, "Look, my buddy Liam is shitting all over you on his podcast."
I know.
I'm sure you saw it already. I'm sure you saw it.
My uncle Tony, he lives in Philadelphia. Who you would have met that Friday morning as well. He popped along for a quick second. He literally messaged me afterwards saying, "We need to have a conversation about what you just put on your podcast." You cannot be doing that.
One last thing on this before we move on. But,
oh God,
Gayle, we put a poll out. Obviously, a bit of a controversial take. So we put a poll out just to see exactly how the wider fan base agreed with him. Can you guess roughly what percentage disagreed with him by any stretch of the imagination?
I think you should guess what percentage agreed with me.
Well,
I'm going to say 98%.
Oh, no,
not that high, but it was about 80.
I think I had 20. I had
23%
agreed with me, 77 disagreed.
77 disagreed. Because it was funny because people were. I actually not in the same ilk as you, but I said, because I had Eagle fans saying, Darius Slay, he's being greedy, he's wanting all this money. I was like, yeah, but you didn't say anything about, Darius Slay, and he's getting greedy, and he's older. I said,
You didn't say anything about Kelsey.
You didn't say anything about Kelsey. He's 36.
Yep.
And he's on his. But you didn't say. But then their rebuttal.
I didn't say it was greedy, by the way. Just to clarify.
Well, you know how Eagle fans out here are crazy. Like yourself. But no, people were just saying that. But they said Kelsey, he's a different class. You can't put him in there with Slay. I'm like, I'm just keeping it a buck right now. With you guys.
I think I need to learn from you, Gayle, about how to pose my questions in the future, and maybe not nail my colors to the mast so much.
Yeah, I try. Like you put out hot take, or you put out. I just because then you bump into him at an event, and
but it wasn't a click. It wasn't like, and I stand by this statement. It wasn't said like a clickbait thing. We're not like that. It genuinely was a belief of mine at the time.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I don't necessarily.
No one's judging here. No one's judging here. Yes,
myself,
yes, we are, Phil. We are judging you.
Anyway. At the time, so
enough about that.
For all the stick I'm getting, I think Mick was the one that disagreed most at the time. But
Mick spat his whiskey out and swore at me, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. That's fun, but let's move on and talk about some more recent news. Eagles have hired Matt Patricia. And it's funny you just talked about Darius Slay, Gayle. There was rumors of this, I'd say a month ago, around the time just before Slay and Bradbury. The merry-go-round that was Slay signing, not signing, is signing. A lot of that seemed to be what was going on with CJ Gardner-Johnson as well. And the Eagles flipping and changing tactics. There is clear evidence that Darius Slay does not like Matt Patricia. I mean, it's not hidden. When this rumor came out a month ago that he might be signing him, Slay was on Twitter straight away saying, "Yeah, you're right. I don't like him." Now he's come in as what's he come in as here? A senior defensive assistant. So he's not. He's not. He's not been officially confirmed by the Eagles in their coaching. I'm not sure. Either way,
it's confirmed.
It is confirmed. What kind of effect does this have on Slay, the defensive backs locker room? Slay, sorry about talking to anyone really, right? Do you think it has much of an effect here, or do you think the position is small?
I think his it's not like he's going to be hands-on with those guys. It's he's going to be the ghost of Christmas past. He might be like around, circling, but it's like in all seriousness, if we're thinking about anything that we can do to bring in to improve this defense, we talk about veteran coaches who have been there, done that. We cannot take away from what he's done with the Patriots. Obviously, we know Brady was there, but he was a part of that. He's
well respected,
right? And when you compare that to having a guy like Gannon, who is inexperienced, obviously it's not his fault. He's learning as he goes. But in certain situations, do things change if you have those kind of voices? I don't know. We had some. At the end of the day, it's just another voice in the lot
So you're not concerned.
I mean, at first I was just like, why are you're going to bring bad energy into the locker room? Because when he was, outed from the Lions, it was like they danced around on his grave. So it's kind of weird that so many players would be so against one of their head coaches. But like teams that I played for, we've had coaches that we hated. And then you have to suck it up, be a man. Like Sirianni said, he spoke to Slay, and there was a point online. Slay had mentioned that if I had to, I would do anything for this team, put my issues aside for the greater of the team. So
as a leader on the defense as well, obviously he was was made a captain last year. Yeah. And he cherished that role. Clear, it was obvious. I mean, Slay wears his heart on his chest. I really like him. Obviously, wonderful wife that goes to your tailgates as well, Jennifer Slay. I had the pleasure of meeting her when I was over, and she actually she turned around and said, "Oh, I wish I had an accent." So that was a nice little flex on my hat.
this guy, man. This guy had the time of his life, man. Shout out to Slay's mom too. She comes to the tailgates, and they're just really good people. And he's got a great supporting cast. But yeah, Slay. I'm so happy that they're staying in the city.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, me too. We all
Bradbury as well. Bradbury as well.
I tell you, Bradbury. I mean, at his age, team friendly deal. You know, we talked about it. It feels like something we talked about on the podcast before. It feels like there is such a atmosphere, a feeling of positivity, of niceness, of being together at Philadelphia at the moment, that players are just gravitating towards it and don't want to leave it. I mean, CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think he's going to have massive regrets personally.
Yeah. I think we could also thank our tailgate for this, but
100%.
we
Flex.
flex. So it was funny because we hosted Bradbury's former teammates from college.
Here we go.
So Gayle, they came in.
Whispered sweet nothing into his ear.
So I was like,
burger on the side.
I'm feeding them everything. We're giving them beer, and make sure they're good. I'm like attending to them the whole tailgate, and I said, "Hey, I just as his former teammates and friends, he invited you to come to watch him play today." I was like, "You got to get in his ear, man." I was like, "Is there any way he comes back on a team discount?" Because I know he's played himself out of a contract here. So, because of our tailgate, thanks.
I mean, that is more than a flex. I mean, that is both arms in the air.
You're welcome. No, his teammates
put together the best cornerback duo in the NFL.
Yeah, basically, Gayle Saunders is responsible for us having the best quarterback duo in the NFL.
Yeah. But shout out to those beers, man. Those beers.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. Gayle, we all right for time for you for a little bit?
I'm good.
All right, sweet. Just wanted to make sure. Good stuff. Let's talk about. We've got JSN on here on the board. There's chatter about JSN potentially being Eagles are doing some work. A few reporters have talked about in the last few days. Personally, my opinion straight off the bat here is they're not going to be going near JSN in the first round. That's my personal opinion. But I'm interested in yours, Gayle. Do you think the Eagles could go? Could they go Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and JSN, and just be like, just try and blow every single defense out of the water?
He's been a contingency plan for me in my mindset. We've actually brought him up on our podcast in terms of what prospects are move back prospects. He was one of those guys. Did enough watching of tape, did enough scouting, his interviews. I think he's a very competitive guy in a room that had legendary dudes like Garrett Wilson. That wide receiver group called JSN the best of the group. In terms of the leader, Steve Smith said that he has a route running degree in route running, a PhD, matter of fact. So in terms of if you're going to move back and make it make sense, that's the best trio, one of the best trios in the NFL. You have a wide receiver 3 who can play inside and out. Everyone's calling him slot guy, but he can work on the outside. He said he ran slot because that's the only way he could get on the field with all the wide receivers they had in the mix. That's a wide receiver 3 who tells stories with his routes versus a Quez who's a run-on sentence.
Do you spend a first round pick on a wide receiver 3 though?
Well, we're talking about value of the board. Like if you see him as the best on the board, your best player available, I'm not pigeonholing yourself into picking a position. I'm picking the best guy, and I think
which how he likes to do.
He talking about CB3 on him. That's a mismatch all day. He knows how to get open. He's very nuanced route runner. He's a kind of guy who is the quarterback's best friend, He's the kind of guy who can run a 10-yard route, 9 yards, or 11 yards, but he's creative enough to get back in the eyesight of the quarterback. That's invaluable. So I think he's the way that he is made up. I think he's a yak guy and very impressive.
What's his pace like? I mean, I think if you look at AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, they're both 4.9 guys. 4.49. I mean, sorry.
Oh yeah, he's probably like a 4.5 guy.
So he's similar.
Yeah,
Similar.
a little. Everyone's calling him slower.
A little slower.
If the way that he creates separation with his routes,
this
is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He compared to Quez. I'm not killing Quez.
He's a fifth round pick, right? Sixth round pick.
This is the difference between first and if you can separate with route running and not actual speed. It's a big story. I mean, big difference.
I mean, I'm completely not all in on that, but I completely get your reasoning. Completely get. I just wouldn't do it myself. Would you, Mick? Phil?
I think it's sort of a smokescreen for leverage. I think for the draft pick more than I think looking at
because 10 is. I think 10 is a obvious position where any team behind us. That is the target for if we need to jump up in the draft, we know how he's willing to move down or listen to any various trade. We're in the perfect position for Paris Johnson, Skoronski lovers out there, those teams that want those, potential tackles or guard tackle versatility, whatever. Those two guys are sitting there. If you're wanting a wide receiver, JSN is there. If you're wanting Bijan, 10 is for the taking. We'll move down, and then you have to start
on that scenario. You got JSN there, you got Bijan on there. Who you picking?
Bijan would be
yeah.
And again, I'm not running back in the first dude.
No.
But I think he's worthy of.
But that's it. I mean, if you're going to go wide receiver or running back with the needs of the team and the current talent we have in the wide receiver position and the elite offensive line we have for a running back position, that's a luxury pick at 10 if you're going to go wide receiver or running back. So you have to think of it as, okay, it's a luxury pick. We're going all in to make this offense just absolutely ridiculous. This got to be picked on, right? If you're going to do that.
I mean, it would be amazing. I mean, like I've lost sleep over this, guys. I wake up and I'm like, Bijan. Because it's like, again, I'm always like, I know you were drinking wine earlier on the podcast. You could go Chardonnay from UCLA.
Still am, but
Chardonnay from
Chardonnay from I like that.
He's a dude that. I mean, there's Gibbs later from Alabama.
I like Gibbs.
I could go Tyjae Spears from Tulane later on day 3 or earlier.
He's one of your guys, isn't he?
He's one of my guys. I like Tyjae.
I mean, you can go a Banacanda later from Pitt.
Go for
Bigsby.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was going to say, like, Gayle mentioned about waking up and shouting out Bijan in the middle of the night. I'm no word of a lie. I literally woke up this morning and I had a dream that I think I was sat in a car with Bijan, and it was just after the Eagles had drafted him. And I have no idea.
I hope it wasn't you, Bijan, and Jalen Carter, because that would have been a bit of a nightmare.
We're seeing.
That would have been a wet dream, yeah.
Oh, all right.
See, Jalen Carter, that's another topic of conversation. That is like,
absolutely.
That is set it and forget it.
Absolutely. Mick, JSN, you taking him if he's let's say you drop back from 10 to 14, 15, you pick up JSN. You happy with that?
It's just how lethal the offense would be with this sort of guy would be insane. So that it would be something to get excited about. I've spoken about it last week, I think, on the podcast with Zari. I said, I feel like the quality of wide receiver in this draft isn't great. And there's quite a big gap between JSN and, like Jordan Addison or Zay Flowers and just Quentin Johnson from TCU. I think JSN's probably head and shoulders the best for me. And if the Eagles were managed to pick him up, that's huge, and it would be so fun to watch as well. Because let's face it, we watch these games to have some fun, to see us put points on the board. If we take another tackle, yeah, that's a smart move, but it's not exciting.
Let's see, if you go on the same tackle, the whole Paris Johnson Jr.
He's my guy, Gayle. He's my guy.
Is he? Okay.
That's who I want.
I mean, he played. He's got 13 starts at right guard. He's got 13 starts at left tackle. The man speaks Mandarin fluently. He's
really valuable asset.
Great in the locker room.
Level of intelligence. Yeah.
He's a guy that I feel like if Stoutland, who was at the combine running the.
I said this exact thing. He was running the drills.
He was there.
And you saw when Paris Johnson was there, he was like, "Great job, Paris, great job." You could just see it. And there's a couple of other tackles. Skoronsky was there, and I think he told Skoronsky to go back and do something once or twice. And Broderick Jones, he was like, "Well done, Broderick, but go back and do that a couple of times." Paris Johnson, you could just tell he was like, "Yeah, brilliant, well done, Paris."
Got a mean streak in him too. He'll definitely take your lunch money, and but I just
stopping him, to be honest, if he tried.
Comes from NFL bloodlines. I believe his dad was a safety, got drafted. I just think I don't know, man. If we're gonna have to, again, he was my guy. Like if we wanted to move back and still take a lineman who had some versatility, and then you can think about the life after Lane situation. He's marinating in a locker room full of the talent that's in there. I mean,
Perfect.
And we talked about how we talked about on one of his podcasts or with Kelsey
on New Heights,
about this offensive line group is actually that's kind of like the lifeblood of this team is the offensive line unit, and bringing a guy in like that again, it's part of Stoutland University, guys.
Let him split reps with Jurgens at right guard next year. Let him learn the right tackle position under Lane Johnson. Let Jurgens move to center, take over the right guard position until Lane's gone, and then if you're able to adapt to right tackle, move in there. I mean,
swing tackle is serious. People don't realize that the production when Lane Johnson stepped off the field was like what I mean. It's a real thing.
It just goes to show to me that, going back to the very start of the pod, we obviously said the reason this draft is so exciting is because the Eagles just have almost limitless options, and that's the beauty of it. Is that Howie? That's almost like prime Howie territory, which is knowing that everyone wants him and he doesn't need anybody, and I think that's the perfect place to be. And I think it's just so exciting. Like if they take Paris Johnson, no one's going to complain. If they take a defensive lineman, no one's going to complain. If they take Bijan, no one's going to complain.
I think people will complain if we take Bijan. I think they will.
But I think the majority, there's so many people that will just I just want Bijan. Tell me,
I get it.
Tell me the second round running back.
I want to watch him. I want to watch him in the Eagles. It's as close to Saquon Barkley when Saquon Barkley came out of the draft. That's the closest.
I was being overly generalization, but what I mean is that whoever they take, there's not going to be seeing the videos today. I think Kendall Beck posted a video of him. Watching the Jalen Hurts pick, 3 years ago today, this was my reaction, and there's not going to be that kind of reaction.
Bijan?
No. Well, to any player or any type of player, because there's so many.
The Eagles fan base. Yeah.
The Eagles fan base reaction to Jalen Hurts pick, present company included, we all reacted not in a positive way.
It was confusing times though. We didn't know the backstory. We didn't know.
No one here thought Jalen Hurts was going to go take over the quarterback job from Carson Wentz when he was drafted. When he was drafted.
We dropped all that money on Carson. That was the issue.
Exactly.
So we're going to be happy when Hendon Hooker goes at 30 then?
Oh.
No. I think it's more of the case that no one's going to be sort of burning the place down with whatever pick because there's so many different options. There's enough.
I think you're giving way too much respect for the Eagles fan base there.
I generally don't believe that. I think this draft with the options there are, I think there's enough for everybody likes nearly every option out there.
Yeah.
There's not like oh my god, please do not. I mean, Luke Van Ness for Mick is
Can't
probably
see.
the only one I'd heard.
Van Ness would that'd be.
Everyone is
And I know,
drafting
you
us
spoke
as well.
about when you you voiced your disgust at Luke Van Ness, have you not, Gayle?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like at 10. I'm not developing at 10. I'm like if I'm moving back in, like again, but it's just weird because there's a lot of outliers in this draft too, like Elijah Cansey, smaller, toolsy, explosive, 280. There's Nolan Smith.
I like Nolan. Personally.
Fastball off the edge, 439, but it's like what 239,
240, yeah,
238,
239, yeah.
But I could go situational passer rusher.
Of the three, I would go him personally. Yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh, you're Nolan Smith stan because of the combine," but his behind the scenes, he's a damn leader, bro. He's super. He was one of those guys that led the charge at Georgia. So Georgia Bulldog connection. I love that. I love
Mick loves his Georgia boys, don't you? Not just the general.
The pipeline from Athens, man. Keep them coming.
Yeah. I like that. All right, listen, if we don't get onto the next part of the podcast, we'll be on this podcast for 2 hours. So let's move on to the next part of the podcast. We got a little quick one here, which I'm going to throw at you. So 3 minutes left. We'll do one quick one here, then we'll do your favorite players in the draft and any sleepers you have. Sorry, not that one. Sorry, we're going to do a quick mock draft. Then we'll do last mock standing. We better hurry up on this. So quick fire in this one, Gayle. King Henry, 29 years old, breaking all sorts of records. AJ Drown has endorsed the possibility to go get number 22 of the jerseys free. There's been a few different scenarios played out on Twitter. Do you move from 10 to 11, pick up Henry, take a $6 million cap hit, and go win the Super Bowl? I'm not going to give my opinion straight away on this. I feel like I've prefaced everything I've said with my opinion first. So I'm going to kill that. Shut up, Lee. Let's hear from everyone else. All right. Your thoughts on picking up King Henry this year for the Eagles?
First of all, that tweet was just out of nowhere off the top rope with an elbow.
Oh yeah,
and a leg drop. Like,
yeah, sure.
Okay, Akbar. Like, okay, all right. Where where did this come from, or why did you? Then I'm like looking at the time that he tweeted. It was 2:36 a.m. So I'm like, did you have a couple before? Did you feel like I'm just gonna drop this? Or also when you're dropping a tweet at 2:30 in the morning, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna let this one go in the morning
because no one might see it, kind of vibe.
The whole idea of it is kind of like, again, close to 30-year-old running back. But if they're trying to create the most dynamic offensive attack, a guy who's not going who's averaging like 28 touches a game. The Titans, they were abusing him. That's why he's had injuries, I think, the way that they use him, which is how you should use running backs, and then you just get another one. But if you bring him here, he doesn't have to take that kind of punishment. Use him at your leisure. I think it would be insane. I think if you can get him in here, if he gets cut and released, that'd be even better. And sell him on the winning culture. Obviously, he's seen his old teammate AJ Brown do amazing things. Watch him go to the Super Bowl. They build a destination place, Philadelphia, in the last couple of years. So if he wants to come here and win, and be part of a winner, take a little discount. Maybe we can sign you for 2 years. I'm not really into signing older backs with this kind of surplus in the draft. And I mean, Dalvin Cook is just waiting out there to be had. Kareem Hunt could be had.
Dalvin Cook, that would be so much better in my eyes.
I'm a Dalvin stan back in the day, but yeah, I mean, there's just so many options. So any running back looking to get paid, sorry, what's his name from San Diego?
Eckler.
Eckler, sorry, Eckler. This is the worst time in history as a running back to want to push for money. Saquon, not liking his contract either, but sorry, Saquon. It is what it is.
I feel sorry for Saquon a little bit, as much as I can feel sorry for a Giants player, but he was a Penn State boy, so maybe there's some of that in there. Because he was one of the best backs in the league. Then he got injured, and he's come back, and he's actually now as dynamic, nearly pretty much as he was beforehand. And I do feel a little bit sorry for running backs because of the way you just described it. Run him into the ground, burn him out, and then let him loose. I mean, who wants to be a running back in 2023 if that's the response? If you're playing NFL and you're a kid in the US, I'm not telling my kid to be a running back.
Raise your kids to be cornerbacks or quarterbacks.
There you go.
You know, because if you run backwards, there's money to be had at cornerback.
My ankles would not allow that, nor my height. All right, Mick, Phil, quickly, you trading for King Henry if the deal's right?
Personally, I mean, if it happens, I'll make peace with it. But no, generally, the gut feelings with the quality of the draft, like Gayle makes a good point. That there's just so many different options out there. I feel like unless it falls onto our lap, wrapped in a bow, it doesn't really appeal to me.
Mick,
you're going to turn down one of the best running backs of the last decade if he
a Hall of Fame running back. I'm not going to turn him down. If he knocks my door, I'm going to let him in, make him a sandwich, ask him if he wants to shop my wife.
He'll steal your wife.
Would you like some Swiss cheese on that?
Here's the bedroom.
Yeah,
I'd take him in a heartbeat. Yeah. It'd be so exciting.
It would be fun.
Like you said, it would be fun. That's the whole thing about going to football games, having fun. It would be fun. It would be fun.
It would be fun.
It'd be damn fun.
Maybe not so fun after he gets injured 6 games into the season.
That would not be fun.
Anyway. All right, Mick, come on, mock draft. Let's do this. We're going to do this together, the four of us, mock draft live.
I think we said we would.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, baby.
Right, let me know that you can see what is going on. Yeah.
I'm just going to make my screen a bit. I'm going to maximize the screen so I can see a bit better. How do I do that again on this?
Right. Gayle, you are the mock draft professional. Can you tell me if you are happy with the settings that are presented in front of you?
Yeah, that's fine.
You cool with that? We'll go a bit slightly favoured towards the PFF rather than the public who
crazy public
draft mad shit all the time.
Well, if you PFF is going to crap all over running backs in the first round and second round, one of my old writers that works for PFF, and he gave me the secret. He said draft a running back after the third round, and we'll grade it higher.
All right, there you go. Free insights, Eagles fans who are listening in.
Shout out Braxton Howard.
Braxton Howard, thank you.
All right, you happy just to enter the draft then? Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm ready. You ready?
All right. No pre-trades. We happy just to let it run down to 10?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, let's go. Right, so just quickly run down. I'll go from Bryce Young, number 1, Stroud, number 2, Will Anderson, number 3, Will Levis, number 4, Jalen Carter, number 5, Devin Witherspoon, number 6, Richardson, number 7, Skoronski, number 8, and Gonzalez just before us, Chicago Bears, number 9. So we're presented with our options. If you're watching along on YouTube or Twitter as we put these podcasts out, actually on Spotify as well, we're now doing video podcasts. So if you turn your phone back on and have a look at your Spotify, you'll see our pretty faces. And you can enjoy the draft along with us. So rather than me having to narrate the whole thing.
Well, hang on, Mick, just quickly on that. So we just talked about the possibility of Bijan Robinson and Jackson Smith, Nick, and they are both available, ranked 8 and 9 as the 2 highest rated PFF players. Now their ADP is lower down than that, but they are on the board there. So who else we got, Mick, here on the board, just so people know what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so we've got Bijan, JSN, Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah. I think that's a bit rich. Nolan Smith, Kalijah Kancey, Brian Branch, the safety from Alabama, Paris Johnson, talking about the second tackle off the board, actually, because Skoronski's already gone. Miles Murphy, the edge from Clemson, my boy. Deontay Banks, another cornerback. Mike Mayer, Irish legend. And a few other guys. So what do we think, guys?
Do I make your Irish legend list, mate? Do I make that list?
Of course you do. Of course you do. My favourite Irishman of all time.
There you go.
Well,
I like
the
that.
first thing that struck up to me is the fact that you've got 25 trade offers to trade back. So I'd be
Oh,
definitely
you want to have a look?
I would like to see who's maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind looking
All
to
right.
see who's willing to.
Let's see what the
12,
lady.
huh?
Let's see what the lady provides. Ooh.
Yeah, so if you click on that one, see what so we've basically got a pick of
Yeah,
the
you
team.
pretty much anyone you can trade back with. Everyone wants to pick.
What is it?
All the
Because
way.
we can't see on
just-
our screen, Mick. What do we got? 12.
Oh,
What
there's
else
not
is
like
there?
you've got 12 all the way to 24 sequentially.
Jesus.
Whoever's picking at 25 doesn't want to trade with us, but then you've got 26 through to 29.
I just think given the picks that we could potentially pick up in 2,
What's the
3, and
Giants?
4.
Well, let's let Gayle lead this off because he's the guest on the podcast. So
Well,
calm your horses,
don't
Phil.
put,
You've
don't put
already
the
done
pressure on me. I mean,
it. Well, I just want to. No, I'm not asking you to make the decision. I just want. What's your initial thoughts where we
No,
are right now, and then we can discuss it.
I'm totally kidding. I pressure bust pipes. I'm not that type. Okay.
Pick now.
I say we offer. I say we try and get a trade here. Can we get? We need some day 3 picks here, guys.
I always
Can-
like. I mean, given that the Packers have now moved up to 13,
Yep.
Ooh,
and the
Ooh,
Jets
that's
are at
already
15
perfect
now.
JSN territory, or Van Ness,
No.
or Van Ness territory, or
Stop it.
Mick shudders as he mentioned that name.
or
Podcast.
they don't know they don't need Bijan. They have Aaron Jones and they have AJ Dillon.
Mm.
Yeah.
They might need some offensive line help, maybe. Skoronski still on there? No,
No,
Skoronski's
he
gone.
was-
Paris Johnston's available.
Yeah, so I say we can get 2 picks? Can we get
Get back to 13.
65
Who we going
and
with?
73?
Who we
What
going with?
about where are we going? Who are we going with?
Packers?
Packers.
Can we
Yeah.
get value? Can we get enough value? Three picks back.
What are we looking at? 13, 40. Oh no,
45, 78. Try 78.
78. We can get
45. Can we get 45 too?
Nah, they
Once-
don't really
Give
give
'em-
45.
What does 116 look like as well? I
I'd,
think
I'd rather have those 60 picks.
Yeah. See who else we could trade with then, Rick. Just while we're doing that, I think I might have heard this on the Birds with Friends podcast. But Eagles, if they pick up Paris Johnson Jr., that will be the 3rd player they have named after a city behind Boston and Dallas.
That's a good one.
It's a classic Bo Wolf ridiculous take. I love you, Bo, but
Hey, we can get 80, 81. Try 81.
73.
yeah, 55, 81.
Let's
You
do
want
it.
to try
Alright.
it?
So what are we doing here, Mick? Just so everyone.
We will be trading back with the Detroit Lions at pick 18.
Oh, 18?
Yeah, to receive 55
Can,
and
can you
81.
can you see if we can get 159 in there too?
What about 48 instead of 55?
It's already at 70. Can you see this bar that says
Yeah, take 50, take 55,
put
48.
51%?
Let's try it.
that'll work.
Try
That'll
it.
work.
All right.
Oh,
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe
All
not.
right.
I was going to
Can
say, you guys
you
are
give
really
back-
trying your hand. You're
55.
channeling your any inner Howie there, I think.
Can you give back
Yeah,
to
that'll work. That'll definitely work.
It did.
All right, there we go.
Right, okay, let's go. Let's rock. Right, so we've already
So who's gone? Who have we
went
missed out
down.
on?
So
We did-
JSN went to the Lions, Paris Johnson Jr.
Oh,
to
my
the
boys,
Titans.
no.
Nolan
Bijan went to
Smith.
the Packers, Gale.
What do they have? Like the biggest running back by monster committee?
Oh dear.
Roderick
Is Aaron
Jones,
Jones
tackle,
That's
there?
my heart broken anyway.
Dalton Kincaid, Miles Murphy, Brian Branch.
See, at this moment in the draft, this is where Eagle fans have rioted. And
Oh yeah.
This is where I just refreshed the page.
you were like, "Could you start this mock over?"
I like Joey Porter Jr. Just saying.
18. Go up to the top. Go from the start, Mick. Who's left so people listening in can hear? Right?
We have Kalijah Kancey, we have Deontay
Kancey's
Banks, we
my
have
guy.
Mike Mayer, the serial killer. We have Joey Porter. We have Darnell Wright, Jordan Addison, Anton Harris, and Quentin Johnson.
I like Darnell Wright too. Or look at Vanessa is there.
The Van Ness is there. He's just flipping down the board.
Oh, yo, Tyree Wilson is on the board, dude.
Wow.
Wow.
What's happened there?
Let's run to the board here.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Wow.
How is Van Ness and Tyree Wilson so? That's a
the
rank
Vader?
28, but their ADP is 8.6. What's going on there?
It's PFF.
PFF guy.
All right.
Yeah, Tyree Wilson it is.
Has to be.
Has to be. Yeah. I mean, we've seen stranger things happen. People drop and slip down the board all the time. I'm all over that.
All right, we're back down the board. Pick number 30. We have Will McDonald, edge from Iowa. We've already taken an edge, so maybe we're looking at a different position this time. We've got Devon Jones from Ohio State. I'm not going to pronounce that. Zay Flowers from Boston College.
What was that one, Mick? Just go back to up there a second.
Phoenix.
Phoenix Yuki Ozama.
Yeah,
Uzoma.
the guy from Kansas State.
Jamar Gibbs.
Jamar
Gayle.
Gibbs.
Flowers.
Gibbs is nice. Oh, Mozzie Smith.
I do like Mozzie Smith as well.
We're talking about fortifying the defense. I think
PFF must have just updated their list on their 250 board, because this is definitely miles different to what it was like a week ago.
Yeah. Bijan's down at 8, like I said earlier to you guys.
Yeah, he moved up.
He's now no longer
Tyreek
mid to late first round, so it's hard to pass on him because people are taking him.
The more people do these mock drafts, the more the board changes.
So if you get Mozzie right, you have a young interior defensive lineman to hold stuff down and marinate.
So if Mazzie's the pick, let's just see who else is a possibility here. So scroll up, Mick, slowly for me. All right. So Will McDonald has been drafted to Eagles a lot on mock drafts.
Yeah, Will.
Darwin Jones, tackle out of Ohio State. When I was watching, I remember watching live the combine, the tackle combine, and Darwin Jones didn't really stand out at all. Athletically, he didn't know. Zay Flowers, Jamar Gibbs, John Michael Smits. I think you're probably looking at, based on needs. Sorry, scroll up. Just who's the Kansas State edge rusher? Oh yeah, you got Felix there. You got Darwin Jones, Jamar Gibbs, Zay Flowers. You picking Mozzie Smith ahead of all of them, Gayle?
If I'm thinking like Howie and the Eagles, and
we're taking him. Gail's our guest. We're taking him.
He's like, we're gonna be here for another hour. Let's go.
I like it a lot.
Pick 55
all right.
then.
Okay. So what we got so far? Recap.
Ooh,
we got Mozzie Smith.
We got the wine guy, Charbonnet.
Oh my god.
Charbonnet.
I don't have what he's having.
Bit of the shabuble.
All right, so we've got Nathaniel Deal.
So before you go on, I'm sorry, it's a complete segue, right? You know, we were talking about Meyer and Mayer and all that earlier on. The champagne, the Brut I'm drinking is called Gratin and Meyer. I shit you not.
Wow.
It's very
Start the draft over. We're drafting Meyer. First round.
So we need to
still might be not.
Think about
serial killers, actors, tight ends, and champagne.
You think about the offense here. Offensive side of the line is screaming. When are we going to get our guy?
Mm-hmm.
Who else is on the board? Safety, Antonio Johnson. Interesting.
I'm not taking
Luke Whippler seems to be going in a lot of mocks I've noticed. I think he was mentioned last week a couple of times, Liam. Is that right?
He was
not a bad shot either.
Cedric Tillman is moving up the boards.
Devin A-Chain.
Don't forget we've got pick 62 as well. So all these picks.
Oh, right.
Let's not get too overzealous. I think Charbonnet seems the obvious pick.
Charbonnet would be nice.
I'm all in on Charbonnet there.
Right. Let's make it happen.
And then if you want to get a developmental or
Although we
I
haven't
mean-
listened to Gale's friend because he said picked him in the 3rd round or later, so we missed out there.
Well,
they probably gave us I'd say C+ for that.
C for that, yeah.
A B. But screw you guys. I like Cedric Tillman. I like
So we haven't got a so we got an edge rusher, we got a defensive tackle, and we got a running back. So
Matt Bergeron.
I was just gonna say we haven't got a tackle yet.
He's got the versatility that can play guard as well.
Mhm.
He can move him
No,
in
I like
size. He's a little undersized, but he is.
Syracuse
Yeah, saw him down at the Senior Bowl. Sat with his family at the Senior
Nice.
Bowl. They all had jerseys on. Very nice people.
All you do is sit with players' families, Gale.
I don't know. Randomly,
He's a networker.
I just show up. That's all I do. Just show up.
You got a beautiful smile going on.
Yeah.
I've seen you in action, Gale.
Matthew Bergeron. That would be like, hey, that's a developmental tackle,
I'm all over that.
guard,
Go for it.
versatility.
let's make it happen. Let's just make it happen.
Pick
So,
anyone.
Mick, here's a question, Mick, before we go on. This draft that we do here,
Yes.
that might need to go against the final draft of the final last mock standing as well, because I think it could possibly win the whole
He'll
thing.
need to go on to Twitter then. I think.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
Oh, you're gonna blast it on Twitter.
yeah, get it out there.
Get Jason Kelsey to
Yeah,
vote on it.
we'll have your face on it, Gail, and say this is Gail's only mock draft.
Skill's stupid ass draft. He drafted wine in the second round.
How the hell did he get Tyree Wilson at 18? Did he force trade?
Yeah, that's not real, bro.
This is great. So we're looking at there's a couple of cornerbacks there. Another couple of defensive interiors coming up, and Kobe Turner is one slightly after.
We haven't picked up a wide
Right.
receiver yet either. Who was that? Scroll up, Mick. Who was that I just saw?
Michael Wilson.
Stanford.
You don't want Stanford as a receiver.
Yeah, he actually had a good Senior Bowl.
Hmm.
If you're looking for size and he's got some wiggle, but interesting enough.
Some wiggle.
We got some dudes here. We have some dudes here.
Should we go Tank Bigsby and just like completely blow out the running back class and just have everyone?
Just take all the running backs. I do like the Mario Joma, but we've got 94, so
Ooh.
maybe he'll.
Hey
Yeah,
Gail, what about we were talking about tight ends today? What about picking up a tight end around here? Do you like Schoonmaker at all?
No, I actually did watch Schoonmaker. Very, very interesting. And then I was like, I thought it was good enough for mid-round guy, but we were in 3rd round.
This might be a bit early.
What other tight ends are on the board?
Go by tight end, Mick.
Tight ends. We have Schoonmaker. We have Strange.
They're all a bit further. They're all a
Allen.
bit further down, aren't they?
We missed that on the earlier ones.
Yeah, we don't want to pick up a tight end at 81 here with those on the
You'd be
board.
I
reaching.
think there's a couple of good safeties. I think.
Corners too. I like Corey. I've been actually higher on Corey Trice as of late, but
What do you think of Tomlinson? Because he seems to be jumping up and down the boards every time they redo this.
I mean, I know one of our guys, Mal, big fan of his game. So I traded off and was like, well, check out Corey Trice. And now he's like, oh, I like Corey Trice. So
Nick Folk had a good season, so
I don't know. Very interesting here. I mean, you have also Chandler Zavala if you're talking about a guard to develop as well.
You got a safety Jordan Battle there as well.
Jordan Battle, safety,
Anthony
Alabama.
Anthony
Yep.
Johnson Jr.
All right, put you on the spot, Gail. Pressure. Who are you gonna take? Scroll up and down.
I'll put it on you.
All right, I'll take it.
And then I'll blame you guys. I'm like,
I'll take it.
can you believe they picked this dude at round 3?
All right, Mick, go up to the top and do a slow roll for me, please, sir. So we got Tomlinson, Trice. We've already picked up a tackle who can play guard and developmental. We've already picked up a defensive interior lineman. I don't mind Michael Wilson, Jordan Battle. Give me Jordan Battle. I want to take a safety here. Something that's additional need. Jordan Battle.
Jordan Battle? Okay.
Pick 94.
Right, we need a. Let's think about needs here. What we've picked so far. So we need a.
We haven't picked a wide receiver yet, have we?
We haven't picked a wide receiver, and we haven't picked a cornerback. They're
Hmm.
big needs now.
But think about our room; it's so stacked. So whoever you're bringing in here,
Mm-hmm.
What a
That's
drama.
available.
Would you be there? I know it's
I mean,
defensive.
we could go another edge. There's no harm in going another edge.
who we got? Garrett Williams coming up. I mean, Carl Brooks, probably kick him inside.
Linebacker. Haven't picked a linebacker up yet.
Ivan Pace Jr. out of Cincinnati, very undersized, speedy guy. Cannot be blocked, but we might be able to get him later. Do we have another pick after this?
We
Not
got
till
219.
219 now.
so
No, we've
there's
got
a stretch
219 after this.
Huh?
We got 219 is next.
So like it's this whoever we pick now, it's like
we could trade this. We could trade this pick and pick up like a 130.
I think we're going to be here all night if we do that.
All right, fair enough. All right, All right, Mick, you're going to decide this pick, Mick. So scroll
Byron
up.
Young, Alabama.
Byron Young. You take another interior defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Do it.
yeah, Mick.
In. Smash it.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, 219. 219 coming up. This is going to be a 2-hour podcast at this rate.
Hurry up.
Gayle, whenever you need to go, just tell us. All right.
Hey, when I start something, I finish it. Okay.
All right, my man. my
Love
man.
that.
All right.
Who's the QBs on the board?
Yeah.
Stetson
Developmental.
Bennett was around here quite a lot. I don't know.
Malik.
Mm,
Malik
Cunningham,
Hall, Max Duggan.
That's it.
Jaron Hall, Malik Cunningham.
not really excited.
No.
I think we can pick up
I
someone.
mean, Jaron Hall has athletic traits, but I mean, we do have
Robinson. Did you think Robinson might still be on the board here? Is it Robinson? Am I gonna-
DTR.
Yeah.
Yeah, UCLA.
Usually he's going like 6th round. Usually,
Right.
Yeah, some people said he might go mid rounds. To be honest.
Was any tight ends?
Here you go. Didn't you mention Leonard Taylor earlier? Or did I make that? up?
Ooh, Will Mallory.
There you go.
Looking at tight end.
Yep.
I
He's-
can live with that.
It's kind of like more of the same what we got. But
As for what in terms of backup tight ends?
does he make the roster?
Does he move the dial?
Jake Witt is that dude's been getting mocked to people, but yeah.
Tackle.
Any other running backs that are around?
Another running back. We could do that.
Or what's this?
Quarterback. We haven't picked up a quarterback yet, have we? I mean, not that's going to move the dial at this position, but
Yeah, I hope Muhammad.
Mohamed Ibrahim.
Yeah, he's a guy that kind of like he's not bad either.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cornerbacks, Mick. Just check out the cornerback. Has anyone fallen ridiculously?
Tyree Wilson's still on the board, guys.
Cameron Brown, Ohio State.
Did we even draft a quarterback?
No, we did not.
Who was the GM running this?
That was you. Okay.
Plenty UDFAs out there, I reckon.
All right, guys, let's just close this one out.
All right, come on, Mick. You sort us out. Take us home. Let's take another edge. I like a late round. Let's go MJ Anderson here.
Do I go MJ Anderson? Let's go
Yeah,
MJ
I'll have
Anderson.
to say, let's
But in
go.
the 7th round, it doesn't really matter who you pick now.
It does matter because that's how we got Jordan Mailata, pal.
Oh, yeah.
It does matter.
Cameron Brown.
Unfortunately, I'm
we
not
haven't-
Stoutland.
Let's go back to back Ohio State. We haven't picked up.
Mohammed Ibrahim.
Oh, you want to go running back? All right, let's take Abraham.
Do I go Ibrahim?
He's
Yeah.
just there anyway, Mick.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a
Sorry,
few
I
down.
must have missed that. Oh, so yes.
Let's see
All
what
right,
we get.
let's see what grade we get. I don't think it's going to be very
Yay.
What grade
good.
has
Tyree
Gayle been
Wilson
given?
will help. B
We've been
plus?
given B plus.
B plus? I'll take
Average.
that. No, it's not average. I've spoken to that.
Fell in my fucking trap
It's
again.
not fucking average. A C is average. A C
Yeah.
plus is average.
Did you see the C plus? See
Wait,
what I
it's
said?
not my fault that you know
C
the
plus
Irish
for
grading system is
C
absolutely garbage.
C
It's
plus
not.
for the wine guy.
Yeah.
How do
all
we
right.
get B minus at
That's
pick
ridiculous.
at 18? Tyree
I'm
Wilson.
giving you an A, Gayle, for this draft based on that.
I'm guessing it's because it's not a need. maybe. I don't know if that's how PFF works. If it's also not a need.
Edge is a need.
No, but not according to them.
Yeah, they're silly. They're silly. All right, okay. Mick or
Yes.
Phil, which one of you going to take away the last mock standing?
Well, I think we double team this one, don't we, Mick? So we'll
All
we'll smash through this one fairly
I'll
quickly.
shut up for a while for a change.
Yes.
So welcome, Gayle, to Last Mock Standing. Now I'll give you a quick, brief rundown just to explain if you don't already know. If you've ever watched Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay show, they do a little challenge on there where someone brings up a dish. If it's good enough, it goes in the hot seat. Next dish comes up, and they debate on whether that one replaces that one in the hot seat. And the last mock standing, as the name of the game, the last mock that you decide would be worthy of that seat wins the game. Now, last week we did one with Zale Cantabedian, and we're going to put that one in as a comparison at the end. So, Mick, if you would kindly put up the first, is it fan submitted or is it our submitted?
Oh, that's fancy.
Oh, it's a fan. It's one of our British and Irish Eagles members. Lee Everett has submitted this mock draft, Gayle. So he's gone in at pick 10 with Nolan Smith. He's traded up from 30 and given up a 2024 second round pick to pick Brian Branch at round pick 24. He's picked up Wine Guy at 62, Zach Charbonnet. And then in the third round at pick 94, he picked up Ojomo from Texas, the defensive interior. And then he's picked up a wide receiver at 219, Moreno Cropper, and finished off at pick 248 with Michael Jones. Now, just give us your quick overall thoughts. Now, we don't have to spend an awful lot of time on it, but if that was the Eagles draft, how would you feel?
I love Nolan Smith. I love what he provides in the leadership and locker room. Brian Branch and other set it and forget it. That's, two potential starters in the first round. Nolan Smith could be rotational, but also effective as a fastball off the edge. We all love Wine in the second round. They give you a little power, a little wiggle.
I've nearly finished my bottle, by the way. It's nearly done.
We this guy will be sauced up if we get on there. Ojomo, I think you hit the trenches again. You get a developmental interior defensive line. Jalen Moreno Cropper, not too familiar with his game. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, he's a new one to me as well.
I'm not surprised.
An A+ pick, that one. So
yeah. Who I was checking out? Purdue's Charlie. What's his name? Charlie.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, very interesting.
Oh, I know the guy. You
Charlie
mean,
Jones. Charlie Jones.
There you go.
Yeah, for a later guy. But yeah, I mean this pretty solid draft.
So that's your base. You've also got that D+ trade in there. Would you trade? Would you trade pick 30 and round 2 to go to 24 for Brian Branch?
We don't need that many picks next year. So
I mean, I think if you're trying to, it's definitely a ballsy move. I just don't think you really have to.
No.
But if Brian Branch is your guy,
if you love him,
I think that's what I was going to say. I think Brian Branch is Lee's guy, and I think I've seen that in a few of his marks.
I mean, Nolan Smith, Brian Branch, and Zach Charbonnet as the top 3 picks is pretty shit hot. That's pretty shit hot, right?
Yeah, I'd be drinking on the podcast if we had those.
You do realize this isn't just me on a normal Monday. We drink every podcast.
Okay.
So what I need you to do now, Gayle, is if you've got any form of photographic memory, is to sort of memorize your big points.
I'll write it down.
Bits that excite you most about that draft, and Mick's going to come along with mock draft number 2. And
I just took a photo of it.
Oh, well done.
Technology.
Yeah, well,
I'm a veteran.
It's not his first rodeo.
Gail's living in 2050 here, and we're
this initiative.
in 2023.
Did you say he's 50, or did you say he lives in 2050?
Lives in 2050. Come on, I'm not going to disrespect the man. Not where he's looking at me anyway.
Right, what's the next? Here we go.
Next one is mine. It's my draft.
Some trades going on here
this time because I've done a million mock drafts, Gayle, and I just get bored now. So I just tried different things.
Okay.
Take guys that I don't usually take or whatever. So what I decided to do here was trade down from the number 10 to number 19 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picking up a round 2, picking a round 5 pick from our Troubles, and giving up a round 7 pick in return. With that pick, taking 19 overall, Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State. You're probably very familiar with him. He's a guy who's very good press corner. He's going to get in your face at the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't give off an awful lot of yards, and I really like his game. I think he's going to go higher than a lot of people think he's going to go in this draft. Pick number 30, taking Brian Brisset. I've gone on about him for a number of weeks now in this podcast. He's just one of my guys. I think the Eagles had him in the facility to speak to him in the top 30 visits. Another 5-star prospect coming out of high school, played well at Clemson, had a bit of tragic history, but he's still absolute baller. Round 2, pick number 50. This is maybe a bit of a vanity pick, you could say, but Isaiah Foskey, the edge from Notre Dame.
Where does he play, Mick? Oh yeah.
But you might laugh. This guy's got 22 sacks in the last 2 seasons, and nobody's fucking talking about him.
Oh, that's compassionate.
Why is nobody talking about him? He's a team captain. He played on special teams. He plays his heart out. He's had 22 sacks on the season, double digits tackle for losses, plays that Viper role very, very well. His senior season, 2 block punts. He does everything. No one's talking
This
about
is a bit. This is a bit of a because of the special teams performance you've had over the last few years and how terrible that's been. I feel like this is.
Oh, Michael Clay will make an arse of it anyway. So right, roll this on. Right, so Marvin Mims taking the wide receiver. I think he's great. Oklahoma. I don't know why I got a C for that, because I think Marvin Mims is a great player and I'd be lucky to get him at 62. Heading on through round 3, Roshan Johnson, the running back from Texas Longhorns. Picked a guard because we need a lineman that fills a position in need around the back of round 5, and then threw a dart at the very last pick, Johnson, which is an overall grade of B.
Not
All right,
bad.
Gayle.
I like the depth. I mean, it's when you look at it straight off, you're like, oh, this is the depth draft. But then I think with Roshan coming in, I think he's also a nice committee piece. But he's a guy who probably could, he doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires. Marvin Mims, like you said, he's the dude that kind of gets forgotten about in this wide receiver class. It seems like with all the guys in the mid rounds, I think Marvin Mims super productive, very crafty.
Any
Foskey,
relation to Denzel?
Denzel, maybe, but more. I don't like Denzel. He doesn't like Philly. We don't like him.
I don't think he is.
Foskey, I think people just wanted to see more from him. I think he was the kind of at Senior Bowl. His face was plastered all over the Mobile, Alabama, like as one of the guys. And I think he didn't show out like I think people thought he was going to show out. But I think, hey man, if you're a developmental edge, Brian Brisset. Again, he's a guy who's dealt with the injury. He had an ACL. I know his sister died from brain cancer. He had a rough year. Like his year was, but I think if you go back watch his earlier tape, you see more explosive Brian Brisset. But I think overall, I think he's a guy that I'd be comfortable with it. When we were earlier in the phase of mock drafting, he was way up there, and I was like, I'm not seeing top 10 from what. But right there is cool. Joey Porter Jr., again, not developmental, but he's the next in this situation. Very aggressive, very handsy. Can get some flags, but hey, man, he's a guy that he's learning under 2 of the best corners to do it. This is a draft that, again, this is like solidifying your roster here.
All right, so you got your picture. Oh, sorry, Phil, you go ahead.
It's all right, no worries. So yeah, obviously they're 2 very contrasting drafts there, but obviously this is the last mock standing. Does this mock beat Lee's mock that you've just seen? Given that they are quite different, so I understand it's quite difficult, but your gut feeling, give us what you think.
That's a hard one because
You
there's
don't have to be nice to me. You can.
Did- did- did-
It's fine. I can take it. I'm a
Am I-
grown-ass
am I-
man. I can
Am I
take it.
right? Am I right in
Working-
saying? Am I right in saying that Lee got his motorbike stolen today? It was Lee who got his motorbike stolen.
Oh, you
today?
can't bring your
Yeah.
sob stories in here.
I'm
Come
just
on.
saying. I'm just saying.
No,
This
'cause-
guy had his motorbike stolen
You
today.
can't give a backstory.
You can make his
so
day,
you're gonna
Gayle,
tell him
by-
that Mick has beaten his draft, and I don't know.
No, because well, for me, like the first three of, I could these are potential starters, or people that I love Nolan Smith. I like Brian Brantz, and then I'm like the back end of your draft, like Roshan and Mims. I'm loving that.
Don't forget Charbonnet.
Yeah, the wine guy had me on the wine guy, but that.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
For an
Next,
answer.
Mick, you've lost. Go on, move on.
Yeah, but it's not like. But I do like if you're going depth wise, this is the draft.
All right, well, what
Lee,
you want?
you are
But if you're going like I'm going for starters,
Yeah.
that right there was the first one.
Yeah.
Who's up next then, Mick?
That's fucking tough, dude. This is
It's the game. It's the game.
So Mitch has used the annoying Pro Football Network
this
draft,
guy.
which
Ooh.
just doesn't sit right with me. Just doesn't have the same feel of it. But here you go. So we've got pick 10. There's no trades in this one, which is he decided to help us out. The PFN pictures don't display the trades very well. It's always really confusing. But so pick 10, we've got Tyree Wilson. Pick 30, he's gone for Kalijah Cansey. Then coming in with a safety at number 62, Sidney Brown from Illinois. He's picked Tank Bigsby as his running back at pick 94, which I know is a sort of is a strong favourite amongst the late round running back picks. And then he's gone with his 2 7th round picks, Shaka Haywood, linebacker at Duke for 219, and then at 248 he's picked up Josh Weil, tight end from Cincinnati. So again, you're not comparing this with Mick's, you're comparing this with Lee's. So give us your overall brief thoughts, and then give us which mark you would carry through.
Damn, I think Tyree Wilson. You're.
He's not got an 18. The value's not been as good.
Yeah, that's what kind of that's what kind of
Never
sucks.
gonna happen.
But I've heard teams have looked at. I don't know. Like to me, at 10, I was like, I don't know. There's some things in this tape where hustle plays where I
His
see him like.
production is not that amazing. Like if you look at sacks specifically,
I just.
no 10 sack season, right? College, am I
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure. But Kalijah Cansey, that's one of my favorite prospects in the draft. Sidney Brown as well. Canadian with the chip on his shoulder. He came in as a leader down for that secondary, leading that secondary with guys like Witherspoon. He had six interceptions. Tank Bigsby, he is my backup plan. If there's no wine in the second round, well, you know what? There's a tank in the third round. So I think from the first 4 picks, those are pretty solid picks there.
Let me just throw this at you. Tyree Wilson has only had 11.5 sacks in 3 seasons as an edge rusher in college. Just
Well,
remember,
his traits are freaky. That's what
They
people like. But again, I don't know. I'd rather have Nolan Smith as a leader. This is tough, man. This is. I don't know how you pick because these are guys that I try to find guys and find their worth.
Yeah.
And these are all guys where I don't know about Shaka and Josh, but the top 4.
top 4 is strong.
What's your gut telling you?
My gut is telling me this shit is hard as fuck. Because I'm looking at Mick's draft. I'm like his top 4 were pretty tough.
Mick's out of the equation.
Mick's gone. You got to look at them.
Oh, he's gone.
I'm gone.
Yeah, you
it's
picked number
destroyed.
1,
It's
didn't you?
literally
Eliminated.
Damn. Okay.
You got to go first one now. It's the first one you saw. That's the one you
Nolan
picked, right?
Smith or Tyree
Oh,
Wilson.
God,
I think
this
that's
is-
the decision you're making.
I think. Oh God, this is tough.
So you had, what was it? Nolan Smith, Branch, Charbonnet, Ajoma.
Because we didn't really. Damn.
No one's gonna crucify you on Twitter, Gad. Don't feel
Oh
the
yeah.
pressure.
I
saw
mean,
your-
Jason Kelsey might watch it,
I
but
saw your mock, dude. Fucking suck, bro. I get it all, dude.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I'd have to go. This is. I just feel like adding these two pieces into the equation. That's too solid
Tyree and Kalijah.
into our mix.
Yeah.
That's and then you have Sidney Brown, who's going to be a special teams demon, contribute on probably day one at safety, and then Tank. I call him my smooth Cadillac on a Sunday with the grills on it, with the rims,
Those chromes.
and he's being mentored by Cadillac Williams from Auburn. There's a
All
whole.
right. I think we got our answer, Mick.
Mitch,
I think he's taking
Mitch Simmons. Mitch Simmons goes through.
well done, Mitch. You are hot.
Yeah.
Oh, we have Phil. Phil, it's my turn to go through it, but I think you should take it because it's your draft.
No. I'm gonna let you do it. Just bear in mind that I've gone on through my millionth mock draft, and I just went, you know what? I love this. I can't get away from it, so I'm gonna stick with it. Can take it away, Nick. You can dress
All
up
right.
for me.
So Phil's millionth mock draft, he has traded back with the Houston Texans and gained pick number 12. He's picked up a third rounder and a fourth rounder for his efforts. And with the 12th overall pick, he's taken Bijan Robinson. Massive
Phil's
favourite.
favorite player.
I think everyone's convinced themselves that we're taking Bijan now. So anyway, round the back end of the first round, we've taken Zay Flowers, wide receiver, Boston College Eagles. Pick 62, taking Tulitu Pelotu, the brother of Marlon from USC. In the third round, we have Bergeron, who
we picked
had
up in
taken.
our live draft,
We pick in our live draft, yeah. And then a couple of Longhorns in round 4. We've got Overshown, the linebacker from Texas, and Ojomo, the defensive interior from Texas. And at this point, Phil has taken another. That was inclusive of another trade, which was trading back with the Carolina Panthers, where we were given pick number 94, and we received 114, which we took Ojomo with, and we picked up 132, a future round 5 and a future round 6. So in round 4, we've taken Andrew Voorhees, the USC guard. I believe he was the guy that
Tore his ACL.
tore his ACL during the combine, and he ended up doing the reps and all that, and everyone was very impressed with his heroics. And then round 7, to round up the draft, we have Jacob Slade from the Spartans, and we have Trevor Reed from Louisville.
So a couple of Longhorns in there. The question is, Gayle, do you have a Longhorn about this draft?
This one's tough because obviously Bijan he's a game changer. No, he said I'm a difference maker.
That was it. You're not drafting a running back. You're drafting a difference maker.
That was like he's trying to I had a purpose opinion before he had a purpose.
Oh man, he's got the quotes like Jalen. It's happening. It's happening.
No, I had a purpose before you had opinion.
Yeah, that's it.
Zay Flowers, I like him. But I'm not in love with him. Tui, that's a lot of Pelotu in the locker room.
It's not Pelotu stock, isn't it?
Because we already have his brother in the locker room as well. But I think Tuli's pretty nice. I like his game. But is he as athletic as I want? Again, we talk about Bergeron, good depth developmental guy. Overshawn in the 4th. That's solid. Jomo, another tackle to develop. I'm just more excited about having Kalijah and
I'm with you, man.
It's going to be tough to surmount that one.
I'm
Like-
with you, man. This was me going outside the box. For
no, I
my
mean,
guy.
but
I usually go with Kalijah Kancey. I think he's been in nearly every mock draft I've had.
like if the Kalijah was in the second pick, I think I'm like that's just too much sauce.
Mm.
And then you still get Tank.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy that in that draft?
It was
Sidney Brown, and then he's
Second round, yeah.
Sidney Brown's also one of my favorites.
all right, Phil. You get the trombone. All right,
It never gets old.
we move on. So
Wow,
this is last week's winner of
So
last
there has to
mock
be
standing.
how did you get these two?
there is a strong caveat that this is over a week ago, and we've already addressed the fact that the boards have massively changed. So,
But even though the board's changed,
no, Liam, you did it last week. You can't interject here and
even
start
though
playing your game.
even though the board's changed, he was still number 19, Paris Johnson, last week. And he's only number 16 this week, so it hasn't changed much. But yes, I did win last mock standing last week, Gayle, among the 8 drafts that there were. So you have to pick the winner of this week's last mock standing, which is Mitch, and pitch it against this one.
I think it's kind of unfair. Because those first two are like, okay.
You
I
can
don't-
factor realism into your opinion.
There's a trade up. There's a trade up there as well, obviously.
If you think it's bullshit, just throw it out and go with Mitch.
Well, because I'm just saying, like, there's no way Paris is going to 30. And
Can I also say that my co-host will do anything for me not to win this?
Like you did everything last week.
Because I don't think Will's going at 7.
You have to take it as you see it.
Oh, this guy.
No, you
But-
don't.
So then after these 2 picks,
Mick, can you mute Liam just for the next 30 seconds?
Oh wait, I can actually.
see, after these 2 picks, then I'm kind of not like sold on the next.
You still got
2
Tank
picks.
there. You still got Tank.
Or that's after that two picks.
Seriously, Nick, mute him.
So
The question you need to ask yourself, Gayle, is when you look at these 2 mock drafts side by side, which draft would you rather have? That's the question you need to ask yourself.
but also the realism.
Just remember the C- trade.
So
they
what did you
as
trade to
well.
get up to 7?
I traded number 10 and a round
Second
2
rounder.
pick in 2024.
Oh. I just think it's unfair.
Yes. Use the head.
You have to take it as it falls because any mock draft, I didn't force any trades. I had the same parameters we used on.
He ran the machine
BFF.
200 times.
I
Oh,
did
we can't.
not.
Gail, we can't verify that because he'd done it in the privacy zone.
I just
Mock draft.
So
generator.
did
but
you two.
even the second round wouldn't get us up to that far.
I didn't have Paris Johnson at 30, mate.
Yeah.
Well, if you look, the PFF big board was 19. He fell.
No, but Will Anderson, I don't think we could get up to 7 with just a second round pick.
So you don't think you can move from 10 to 7 for a second round pick?
I don't think so. You have to add more juice in there.
All right. Okay.
Well, that's my only thing is the realism.
Well, the only thing I will say, Gayle, is it's our podcast and the rules are the rules.
This guy.
So you have to take one mock draft.
I'm gonna have to go with the other one for. The realism here is out of this world.
I don't blame you, and I will admit, even when I won last week, I don't. There is no way the Eagles are taking Paris Johnson Jr. at 30. He ain't falling that far. He's going to be a top 15 pick. So
Well,
I'm with you on that.
and the Will Anderson thing is there's footage out there. Watch him against Darnell Wright, and you're like, all right, could a Will Anderson slide happen? But even if so, I don't think we could get up there with a second. That's why. That's the only thing. I still love you, Liam.
I love you too. Don't worry. I enjoyed my
Take your trombone.
break.
Chop.
Yes, enjoy it, man.
These boys
Drink
were
it
so
in.
pissed off when I won last week. No, I appreciate it. And Gayle, good job all round.
Bro, I'm gonna lose sleep over this podcast.
So this means that we need to put Mitch Simmons' last mock standing against Gale's live mock, or
Yes.
the Gale collective
Yeah,
mock draft.
yeah, that wasn't. You can't put my full
Just
name
do
on it because
Well, we will. We will.
Oh, it 100% will. Like,
you
there's
put
no doubt about that.
some of y'all put your stench on it. So I was like, all right, go ahead. Go ahead, you make.
Gayle
We'll
Saunders
tag you
and the
in. We'll tag
conspiracy.
Harry Roseman in. We'll tag Jeffrey Lurie in. No, I'm joking.
Pretty
Yeah,
sure
it's
Lane
good.
Johnson followed us, doesn't he?
I'm gonna give you the backstory to mock drafting when I used to write for NBC Sports Roto World. I put up my first mock draft, and it was me, Sean King, the ex quarterback for the Bucks, and Josh Norris.
Yeah.
And I think it was Thor Nystrom. But like we had to all put our mocks out, and I got death threats after my first mock.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Because I put
People need to get alive.
I put Teddy Bridgewater to the Vikings, and Viking
Right.
fans didn't like that. And then I emailed all those guys back who threatened my life. I was like, enjoy Teddy Bridgewater because he did get drafted by you.
Nice.
But to this day, I'm just like, please don't put my mocks out.
Do you know we don't? I mean, you guys have a much bigger reach than we do in the US anyway. But so far, the only grief I've seen us get with some of our takes, bar the Jason Kelsey one I did the other week, in which case I got absolutely shat all over, has been when I put something on Reddit. When I put something on Reddit from the British and Irish Eagles, that is when the shit hits the fan. Like that is like it's like no holds bars.
It sucks.
WrestleMania
Bollocks.
TLC match.
Just people
Like,
with keyboards.
Who the fuck are these English guys telling us who we should do this shit to? They don't know nothing. I'm like, oh, bro.
Yeah.
And then you get some people who are like, oh my god, European Eagles fans, that's amazing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all fun. Like my thing is just finding the guys.
Yeah.
Like our next pod, we might do a tier thing.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to say like these are the 1, 2, 3 tier 1, 1, 2, 3 tier 2. So you know if situations happen, this is where you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's really about knowing the board and who has the value where you're picking. So.
What are your plans, Gayle, for draft night? What are you doing?
I think we're gonna go down to the link and
Nice.
do it live with the
A
people.
draft party?
Draft party. Instead of doing our own live show, we've done it for years, but we're probably gonna do a live mock draft. I mean, a live show on Friday, and I don't know if Saturday. If we don't have picks on Saturday, I'm not doing that. We did like a 7-hour show last time on day 3, which was ass.
Wow.
We were waiting forever for nothing.
Yeah, that sucks.
So yeah, we'll see.
You'll have fun.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that'll be
This was fun. This was more fun than anything.
This was good. If you're listening in and you don't already listen to the 4th and John podcast, or you don't follow Gayle Saunders at Eagles Sessions, and I don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're not really an Eagles fan, because you need to go and do that. One of the greatest guys I know as a fan and contributor to the Eagles and the Philadelphia Eagles.
He's a bottle of wine in, guys.
Yeah,
I am, but anyone who knows me affectionately and who will be at my wedding in this September knows that I don't change my honesty to the amount of alcohol I drink. I might get a little bit friendlier, but I don't change my honesty. So that's from the heart, Gayle. That's from the heart.
Appreciate you guys.
No, it's a pleasure having you on again, Gayle. Thanks for coming on. And thanks for doing the last mock standing with us and not picking Liam's. I just couldn't be any happier.
You know, I didn't pick any of yours just to switch it up.
Don't worry about that.
It's like when we had Jamal
and now he's stuck
Singleton
with
on.
Nottingham Forest.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's like Coach Singleton didn't pick any of the football teams, and now he's stuck with Nottingham Forest. Sorry, Mick, you already said that, and I was saying the same thing. That's awesome. All right, listen. Thank you everyone for listening in. You've heard us say on the podcast recently. You've seen on Twitter about our trip to Philadelphia in November this year. We are doing the ultimate trip to Philadelphia this year with Philly Sports Trips. You can find all that information on our Twitter page and on our website, www.british-eagles.co.uk, and our Twitter page is at British Eagles. All the information is on there. You can also find it at www.phillysportstrips.com. You can find information about the trip there as well. There are many places you can find out about this trip. It's going to be an incredible trip and journey. You will be on a flight to Philadelphia with fellow Eagles fans from the UK, 4-star hotel accommodation for 4 nights. There is going to be a VIP tailgate with ex-players for the Philadelphia Eagles. E-Rock is going to be there DJing. I know a friend of yours, Gayle, as well. There's going to be a tour of the Lincoln Financial Field itself. There's going to be a specific event with ex-players, and they're going to be at the VIP tailgate as well. Obviously, tickets to the game itself and added extras such as tickets to other Philly sports events while we are over. More than anything, it's just going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And if you haven't been to Philadelphia to go and watch the Eagles at the Link, what a perfect opportunity to do so. And you have even more of an opportunity to grow your fan base by doing so as well. I'm sure we will see Gayle at some point during that trip, Gayle, as well. I'm sure we can hook up with the 4 for Jordan guys at some point. And
Let's do it.
I cannot wait for this.
Phil has got it marked down on his calendar. Also, the draft competition. If you haven't seen it already, submit your draft competition into our Twitter page. Phil, I think we have circa
About
50.
25 entries at the moment, and I know it's been publicised on Twitter. So we've got a draft cap available as the top prize, along with a bottle of Loch Lomond whiskey, and then the second and third prizes are just a bottle of not just a bottle, but a bottle of Loch Lomond whiskey on its own. So get entering. It's a free entry
guys,
competition,
considering we've had hundreds and thousands of entries for competitions in the past, I think we need to get this out there a little bit. Get your entries in, and you'll be up for that prize. And we will be live on the Aurora Lions podcast on Thursday night. As we have
1
done
o'clock
the
in the
last
morning.
years. 1 o'clock in the morning, just after, I think.
At 1:30, I think. Personally.
1:30. Yeah, we're going to be talking to the Lions, UK Lions fan base over here, and talking about our picks. We'll be doing our own stuff as well. Of course, look out for your newsletters that will be coming in the coming weeks. And of course, follow us on YouTube if you don't already, which is the new platform we're streaming on. That's a lot of information to end the podcast. But listen, what I want to just say is, Gayle, thank you so much for joining us again. I can't wait to have you on. Let's get you on before the season starts.
Let's do it.
Look at how the draft went. Look at how the Eagles season is shaping up, and we'll chat. And I'm looking forward to meet up with you. I know my mum will be looking forward to this episode because she keeps going on about how nice Gayle was in the US.
You guys are great, man.
in November last year, and she listens to every podcast as well. So big thanks from me to you. Listen, everyone listening in, we're the British and Irish Eagles. We're here to serve you. Any questions, any feedback, send it in. And listen, we love you all. Go Birds.